All right.
Hey, I'm Jess, the Socialist Alternative candidate running in the 43rd District in Washington State. And we're getting ready to head down to the state capital of Olympia to hear the state Supreme Court basically take the legislature to task for underfunding education. And the state Supreme Court will be making a decision on whether or not to hold them in contempt for failing to fulfill the court order that they actually provide the funding that's necessary, the $7.8 billion that's necessary to ensure that students are getting all the resources that they need. And this is the letter that we are sending to Governor Jay Inslee, to the Washington State House, the State Senate, and also to the State Supreme Court justices. In light of the McCleary Decision, which cited the state of Washington for historically underfunding education, and the show cause hearing on September 3rd, 2014, we, the undersigned, present this opinion. We welcome and support the court finding the state government in contempt of court. For far too long, Washington has underfunded education, ignoring mandates from voters about reducing student-to-teacher ratios, while lining up to be the first to hand money to Boeing. Contrary to the arguments made by 5 former governors, the Washington State Legislature has had more than enough time to fully fund education, over 4 years. Even before the McCleary Decision, voters made it clear funding education is a top priority. Yet this has been disregarded time and time again. There must be consequences to ignoring a court order. Politicians appear to believe that there are 2 standards of accountability in government. One for teachers, who are threatened with discipline when students don't perform well on standardized tests, and one for corporations and elected officials for whom breaking promises, disregarding the law and the courts, and ignoring referendums is de rigueur. State lawmakers suggest that their recent 60-day session did not provide adequate time to come to an agreement on how to fund education. Rather than hold a special session to fulfill the court order and deliver a plan for fully funding education by 2018, legislators held a special session to award Boeing $8.7 billion. This shows a blatant disregard for the Supreme Court, the state constitution, and the collective will of the people. Lawmakers must be held accountable. We insist the state of Washington fully fund public education by cutting from the $6 billion in yearly corporate tax breaks in Washington state. We demand smaller class sizes, as well as training support and resources to support teachers. We insist that all children in Washington attend schools that are safe, clean, and well-maintained. The funding for these priorities should not be siphoned from other social services, which provide housing, health care, and vital services for the most needy in our state. Instead, funding should come from the corporations who pay, in some cases, negative tax rates. We're going to go down to Olympia to deliver this letter to the justices of the Washington State Supreme Court and urge them to really hold the state legislature to account for failing to fulfill this court order. We invite you to get involved with our campaign to hold Frank Chop, the House Speaker of Washington State, account for giving Boeing $8.7 billion and not funding education. They've waited 4 years to fully fund education, and still they're billions of dollars short. Our children only get one chance for their education. They don't get to repeat their education when it gets fully funded. So rather than subsidize the profits of a major corporation, the priority needs to be to fully fund education. And we're going to be down there to really show the state Supreme Court that the people want to make sure that they hold the state legislature accountable. We thank you so much for your support for our campaign, and please sign up and get involved at votesphere.org.